like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell. Ring that little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And there's just a lot of excitement in the Doctor Who world. I mean, there's a lot going down, a lot to react to. So most of my videos right now is just trying to catch articles that I missed in live streams that I really want to get. I never get to anything, right? I always have these great plans. Oh, I'm going to get to this thing. Never freaking happens, okay? Never freaking happens. Although a week from now, there's a Jewish holiday of Shavuot, which I've got this thing I've been doing leading for the 50 days leading up to it. So hopefully when that's over, I'll have something. But generally speaking, the last couple of months, I haven't got to anything I wanted to get, and which means I get to make videos about it. So this is like I really wanted to get to. It's an article on the excellent website BoundingIntoComics, and I love BoundingIntoComics. That is not very optimistic about the new era of Doctor Who, the new Russel T Davies era of Doctor Who, RTD2 for you Star Wars fans out there, I guess, and Doctor Who fans out there too, right? They're not very optimistic about it, and I really want, one of the things I want to do, which I haven't done, is write a response article to this. Like, all right, not a direct response, but actually write this freaking video essentially as an article and see if BoundingIntoComics will take it. Like, I know John F. Trent, who started the I've spoken with him a few times. No, you don't really know anybody until you're locked in a room without any food for a week, and then you find out the character of somebody, right? But yeah, in a slightly less grim way, I know John F. Trent, right? And I he will probably run the article, right? I think it'll get him clicks anyway, because it's the other side. It's the other side of the debate, and something that we do like here in the Phantom Menace, I believe anyway. Like, not that there's any. Look, the Phantom Menace is a loose collection of people basically heading in the same direction that share a hashtag. That's essentially what we are. There's no monolith, right? I mean, when it's something we all agree on, like Jodie Whittaker was absolutely awful as Doctor Who, and we really don't like being called bigots and racists because we said this writing is terrible, right? I mean, that's something we can all kind of universally agree on. But now we have those dark days are over. I'm optimistic those dark days are ending, and we're going to get really great, enjoyable Doctor Who again. I have to tell you, I'm enjoying Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I mean, I genuinely am. I nearly enjoyed Obi-Wan Kenobi as well, but boy, here's where we are in the culture war. I think it's a lost war. I mean, it's a lost war for the liberal progressive crazes. People are just not interested, right? They're just not interested in the screeching anymore. They were promised, essentially, that if they elected Joe Biden, we'll get a return to normalcy. That hasn't happened. It's got a lot worse. And people just are not interested in every character being a token. And I get that connected with the insane inflation and the gas prices and just the war and every other disaster, which was all essentially done by the same idiots that made Doctor Who. Not the same, but Chris Chibnall didn't run the government. No, thank you. Could you imagine? Holy crap. Oh, man. I don't know if you're a religious person or not, but get in your damn knees and thank the good Lord that didn't happen. But anyway. He just ruined Doctor Who, but rather than just ruin the whole world. But anyway, I just don't think the things we're seeing right now, which are really cringe, which is like Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi, freaking awesome when he whenever it's not being like a tokenized show. So essentially, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you got all this really cool Star Warsy stuff and Star Warsy Jedi's and Inquisitors, these evil people with a red lightsaber, and they're all awesome, right? All these they're all like really dark side of the Force Sith looking people with all like bits attached to them and robot things in them, and a black woman. and it's a black woman that has no screen presence whatsoever, and it's just every time she's on screen, it is cringe beyond cringe beyond cringe. Oh my gosh, it's such a shame. Maybe they could have found a black woman who could have played the part, but they didn't really need to because it's as noticeable as it was in the 70s when in Columbo you had the one black character, right? It's so. Oh my God, it's so insanely good. But my point is this: I think these arrows fired, these missiles launched in the culture war were launched when it was still running, right? But they've lost, and they know they've lost, and we're in a different world now. We're in like an armistice world, and the end of the culture war doesn't mean the other side completely vanishes and submits, right? That doesn't mean it at all. It means that we go back to being at peace with one another, right? Which is, yeah, when being at peace with one another, it's like we live with our differences, and that's pretty a good thing. So, unfortunately, with this culture war, there's been no armistice, right? There's no declaration. There's no VE or V. What was it? What's the VE Day called in America for the Pacific Rim? I don't know, VJ? I don't know. But there's no hey, we won, yay! That's not going to happen, right? That's not going to happen. So I think that's where this really grim article in BoundingIntoComics comes from. Partly. I think it partially comes from that. We've been in this conflict for a long time. And nobody's really saying, oh, we give up, it's over. But it's over, mate. It's over. That's not to say we're not going to see anything cringe anymore. We're going to see lots of cringe stuff, right? But most of the cringe stuff for cringe sake it just can't sustain itself. That's why I think it's over. But we are going to see, as I said, a going back to of living with each other's differences, which I think is a good thing, right? I think generally speaking is a good thing, but the people at BoundingIntoComics do not see it that way. And honestly, so one of the reasons is I think we've been entrenched in this culture war for a very long time, right? And it's not been fun. Not been fun for anybody as we see our culture be dismantled. That's really what it was. Our culture is dismantled to be a platform for this really weird ideology that keeps changing and nobody really believes in. I mean, honestly, I don't think many people have a problem with the idea of there being. I think that many people. Many people do think they have the problem with the idea of abortion being a practice. But I think most people in the middle are like, that's better than it going into back alleys and things like that. But equally, I don't think people are on board with these 9-month abortions. They're having no restriction on it whatsoever. There's just no middle ground, right? There's no middle ground. But in general, I think that this cultural tension it's not sustainable, right? It's just not sustainable. So we got that going on. All the other thing going on is I think there are genuine cultural differences between Britain and America. Look, my wife's American, and I've navigated them for a long time. And look, generally speaking, Britain is much more cosmopolitan, right? Much more cosmopolitan than America. America is essentially lots and lots of small towns, sometimes spread across cities, but you've got a very small town mentality. My wife's from Atlanta, which is a big town, it's a big city, but it had a small town mentality, which I think was actually the strength of the US. But as such, I think when they see things like Ncuti Gatwa, rippling chest on the cover of Doctor Who magazine, being very black and very gay, right? People get nervous. And honestly, so I think Americans saw, the outfit that Ncuti wore and him being black and gay as being very, very, very important, right? Very, very important. In England, right? I don't think it was that gay, right? Americans go this is the gayest thing I've ever seen. And English people were I think it's okay. But people were kind of wavering with that. And then David Tennant and Catherine Tain came back. It was yes! And then 24 hours later, we had Yasmin Finney, which really freaked out Americans. But I think what we're going back to living with our differences. The battle to normalize transgenderism is over, much like the culture war is over. It's normal, okay? You see, it's normal to see transgender people walking in the street now. It's normal, right? And I think that pretending that battle isn't over isn't really very, very helpful for anybody, because the battle's over, right? The battle's over. For the good or for ill, where whatever you think about it, it's over. And I think having Yasmin Finney in Doctor Who as a trans person doesn't seem to be agenderizing to me. It seems to be a reflection of society. And the reason I think that is because that's kind of what Russell Davies has always done, along with agenderizing. But his agenda has always been very, very connected to normal people, right? Yeah. So even though he has some very abnormal opinions, but I think his worldview as presented in Doctor Who, as I say, and best about everything, all the other entertainment I've seen, has been very, very popularist in that it appeals to everybody. And you have real characters and real characters and real stories, which you never get. I mean, like, this the stunning and brave black woman in Obi-Wan Kenobi. She's not a real character. She's a black woman. That's it. That's the entirety of her character. She's a black woman who's the bestest ever, who's being subjugated because she's a black woman. I mean, like, it's like really simplistic and dumb, right? So, That said, Bounding in Comics ran this article. I want to go over it with you and tell you where I disagree. And again, that's the great thing about the Fandom Menace, that we're not a monolith. We don't have to agree. I was listening to TARDIS Zone last night, Noel's channel. Really good stream, by the way. I'm recording this on May 29th in the morning, so it'll be May 28th, okay? I really recommend going checking it out. And he was saying that I've been experiencing, I think Dan from the Type 40 podcast has also been experiencing, that we're getting quite a lot of backlash that we're positive about things. I like being positive, right? That's where I am. And I don't see any reason to be negative about this new Doctor Who or Star Trek Brave New Worlds at all right? I don't see any reason. I mean, you can critique it, obviously. It's not like, the greatest thing ever to happen, but I don't see any reason of being very, very negative about it. And he says things that people are just getting pissed off with us. Look, mate, we like Doctor Who. We like Star Trek. And if they do something that's like Doctor Who and like Star Trek, I'm happy, right? I'm happy. Even though I'm not really happy that the whole war to normalize transgenderism is over and it's a lost battle, right? I don't think that's for the good of society. And if you're trans, God bless you. I hope you're right? I hope you're right, and I hope this is a mental illness, and it's not going to be really, really awful for an entire generation of people. I really hope. I think I'm not. Who knows? Listen. Live and let live, baby. That's what I've always wanted to be. I haven't always wanted to be the guy who was like, my view is the only view allowed. I like to live with different opinions, right? If the world radically changes, right? And if we get the seas split and there's a revelation much like that at Mount Sinai, and God appears and says, oh, this is what we really should be doing, then everything changes. But until that happens, live and let live, baby. Live and let live, which is my raison d'etre. Fine. 13 minutes in, bloody hell, I do like to ram it, don't I? 30 minutes in, I haven't said like, share, subscribe yet. I hope you understood that was implicit when you started playing this video. I want you to like, share, and subscribe, right? I don't care if you don't like it, right? I don't care if you don't want to share it. I don't care if you don't want to subscribe. I want you to do all those things, right? I really, really do. And I'm not going to force you to, because I can't. But if I could, I still would I? I don't know. If I could force you to it in like some kind of Professor X way, I could just like do this and make everybody click the right buttons I want. Totally, I would do that. Okay, unquestionably that would happen. But I can't. So therefore, I won't. Like, share, subscribe. Really is very, very helpful. Sign to my Substack. If you ever don't see me on this channel, it means because YouTube have banned me for my sacrilegious opinions, which are basically mainstream Judeo-Christian morality and thought. But yeah, that won't happen. I have a Substack, which is an email newsletter. Keeps you updated on all my content. Please sign up for that. I was putting stuff in it. I'm going to start again maybe next week. I think after this week is done, I can get back to life again. That's my hope. Have my hopes panned out as yet? No, right? But I will start putting stuff in, and I definitely got stuff. I got a bunch of stuff. I actually got a stack of stuff that I am going to send to the paid Substack. It's like $5 a month. What'd you get for it? absolutely nothing other than making me very, very happy and guilty, because I'm not giving you stuff for it. So if you'd like to make me happy and guilty, sign up to the Patreon. Okay, so I think I covered all the bases. Let's have a look at this article. Doink. There you go. Russel Davies cannot redeem Doctor Who. It's by Slade Hell, who's a really good writer, right? A really genuinely good writer. Well, firstly, of course he bloody can if he wants to. You're saying it's unredeemable? I don't really see that, right? I don't really see that at all. I mean, the reason I don't see it is because I saw how everybody's just got super charged up and excited about Doctor Who when Doctor Who looked like it wasn't going to be awful anymore. I mean, it's... do you remember when The Mandalorian started? Firstly, actually, when The Mandalorian was on, I clenched the entire way through that first season because I thought it was going to be just more liberal, progressive garbage, and it wasn't, right? It was good TV. I enjoyed it. Don't know how. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett was horrible. It was just so embarrassing. But you know, I think as soon as you do something good, people will be like, oh yeah, I like this, right? I genuinely like this. So let's see what he's going to say. A few months ago, the news broke that original Doctor Who reboot, not a reboot, mate, revival. But yeah, again, God bless you. Showrunner Russel will be making a triumphant return to the series and reclaim his former role as showrunner. Now, for most of us, we took that as a complete admission of failure of the Chris Chibnall years. Again, if the culture war was over and we'd lost, then Maxine Alderton would be the showrunner and Yasmin Finney would be the Doctor. That's essentially what we would be looking at. I think we're looking at a return of storytelling and characters again, and Doctor Who being Doctor Who-ish. And until I get any real indication that that's not going to be the case, and I don't think Yasmin Finney's casting is that indication, that's basically where I'm going to stay, I think. I mean, I just like that's where the evidence is leading me to. Anyway, fine. For a brief moment, long-time Whovians upset at the drop in quality in the latter Moffat years. No, I wasn't upset by the drop in quality in the latter Moffat years. I love the freaking latter Moffat years, and I think Capaldi's last season was his strongest. Marred, as it was, by Bill Potts, who was brilliant, saying every 20 minutes, oh, I'm a lesbian! Oh, I like a vagina, me. I don't know why I'm doing that in Jodie voice. It just seems to work better, right? It just seems to be funnier. And I can't... What accent? Does she have a London accent? I don't even know. Yeah, I like a bit of vagina. Oh, I saw a girl there. Oh, she was great. Oh, I'm so up for it. Like, yes, we understand. Now, that I genuinely believe was a result of two things. One, the culture in which Stephen Moffat lived in which they, for some reason, they thought that gay people were marginalized. No, gay, really? I mean, if you are, I'm sorry, but I like, who has a problem with anybody being gay? But it was this really awful organization that got their fangs into the BBC called Common Purpose, who were very much about much like Disney. You know, the Disney Corporation really wants to use their platform to convince kids that if a grown-up says suck a dick, it's that's a great thing to do. I don't want to be closed off and closed-minded. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially what Disney's doing, mate. I'm sorry. You know, that's what grooming is. Grooming is normalizing sex for children. Why do you want to do that? Well, I think most of the reason happening is so the adults who have atypical sexual practices, which I think is the correct term, don't feel that they're atypical. It's okay to be atypical, mate. Don't worry about it. You don't need your class at school to tell you, it's really okay to have to have a male vagina, right? Women can have periods and babies. No, women can. Men can. Men can have periods and babies. Which of course they can. YouTube, I'm not saying they can't. No. Just be clear. Women... men could totally have periods and babies, okay? Do you remember that bit in 1984 where they said they will make you lie even though you know it's a lie? Kind of reminds me of where we are. Anyway. And the disastrous damage done by the Christian. Well, some felt somewhat excited. I don't think it's possible for Russel Davies not to write an entertaining script, right? I just don't think I don't think that he has that ability, right? I don't think that's in his wheelhouse. Be able to write a script that's just really what we've seen in the generally. I think the quality of storytelling in Moffat was fantastic, right? The Commanders last year, people hated the Monk trilogy. Freaking awesome story. Again, if you want to come on my channel, talk it out, more than happy, mate, right? Do you remember when we used to disagree about Doctor Who and it was okay? This is it, right? This is what we've been over for years. After all, surely the man who successfully brought Doctor Who back to public consciousness will be the right choice to restore the show to its former glory. Well, if he wants to, what better choice, right? Okay, what better? Let's hear his argument. However, in the months following the announcement, it's quickly become apparent Davies has no intention of doing anything like that. It hasn't become apparent to me, and I've been really watching closely, mate, right? I think the inferences you're taking are one, coloured by the experience of being in a culture war for many years, and two, coloured by you not being English, right? And I don't think you're English, right? But I don't think... Again, okay, I'm just looking at a picture of Yasmin Finney on screen there. To me, it's weird, right? To me, it's weird having somebody who's obviously a biological male present as female. It's weird, but again, it's a normal trait of life. I don't think this is platforming, right? Which is, if it's a character, it's not platforming. Was it platforming to have Captain Jack kiss the Doctor? A bit, but in a way that we could all kind of live with, right? So again, I've been watching very closely. I'm not drawing the same inference as you are at all. But instead traverse the path of doom that is radical identity politics. I don't, I think we got to look at these things more subtly, like more intelligently. Yes, the shooting Gatwa is black and he's gay. Is being gay going to be a part of his character? I really hope not, right? If it is, then you're right, Mr. Slade. Is it Slade Hill? You're absolutely right, right? If being gay is a part of this new Doctor's character, fine. If Yasmin Finney is the companion, I think that's just a step too far for me, right? I think it's, I don't think it's possible to make Doctor Who with somebody who's very clearly a biological male presenting as female, right? Which I'm not saying it's not a woman, she's not a woman, right? I'm not saying they're not a woman at all. I'm saying somebody who's very clearly a biological male presenting as female is a strange thing, which is going to be, if you don't talk about it, then you're talking about it a lot. And if you do talk about it, you're talking about it a lot. There's no way of making the show not about that, right? And if that's what happens, that's what happens. I just don't see an indication of that happening. It seems to be it's going to be a minor character, like Donna's daughter. Okay, so what? I mean, really? So what, right? I if you don't have a problem with Captain Jack being on screen, I don't think there's much of a problem with Yasmin Finney being on screen. And like, look, I hate to say this, right? But the problem the problem that one may have with Yasmin Finney being on screen is as the exact same route that as the problem with if there's any problem with seeing Captain Jack on screen, in that this is from a biblical point of view, from a Judeo-Christian point of view, the Old Testament not overly pro the LGBTQ plus, right? But like I said, in 2005, we had learned to live with our differences. Hopefully, that's where we are again, right? I think by next year. Look, I mean, have you noticed how quickly the world is changing? Where do you think it's going to be in over a year from now? I mean, honestly, do you think there's going to be any tolerance for platforming woke garbage? I don't think so. I really don't. And it's like, it's got to the point where it's just financially not viable to go down that route. I think Star Trek Brave New World certainly does show that. How they still make Star Trek Discovery and Star Trek Picard, beyond me. I don't know how. I don't know the economics of how that is possible. But it's not possible to make Doctor Who as a platform for bizarre identity politics. David's first order of business was to dump the show's ludicrous history by slapping in a lustrous history by slapping in a transgender acting Yasmin Finney as Rose. Well, that wasn't his first order of business. That's not true at all. Listen, mate, I'm a big believer that if you can't tell the truth, you probably don't have an argument. That wasn't his first order of business. That was his third order of business, right? As Rose, obviously referencing the original reboot. It's not a reboot! It's a revival! companion played by famous by Billy Piper. Yes, this is obviously a reference to Rose. What that reference is, we don't know, right? My guess is there's some kind of like multiversal breakdown and reality is echoing each other, and the Doctor doesn't know why he's back. And I do think, by the way, Dan Hadley totally convinced me that Jodie Whittaker will regenerate into David Tennant on screen. I was really hoping that wouldn't happen, but again, part of making Doctor Who for everyone is making Doctor Who for Jodie Whittaker fans, which there are a lot of them out there, right? Who are and I'm not talking about the toxic fans, I'm talking about the real fans, like I think Dominic Martin, right? Dominic Martin, I think, will be the archetypal Jodie Whittaker tolerant fan who's genuinely a fan, right? There's no way you can say he's just there for the agenda. No, absolutely not. But he's also, I think, doesn't want to jettison that era. I do want to jettison it. So for me, I have a copy of Twice Upon a Time that fades to white as Capaldi regenerates, and I'll just go straight to whatever the 60th anniversary thing that David Tennant's been for, whatever the first thing out the bat is, and I'll miss out the entire Whittaker era. I just hope they don't reference back to it too much, because that really spoils my entertainment of it. But if they can make it so the Jodie fans believe it's part of Doctor Who, and the non-Jodie fans can erase it from their headcanon, much in the same way Paul McGann's half-human on his mother's side thing, I think that's fine by me, right? I think I don't need it to be that Jodie fans can't believe that this is the same Doctor Who. I just also want to believe that it's not part of Doctor Who, right? Again, time will tell. We'll see what's going to happen. Finney is a biological male who believes he's a female. Not my words, mate. And Davies could not be happier with the casting decision. No, also, be clear. Bad Wolf were absolutely looking for a 18-year-old-ish trans woman, right? A biological male presenting as female. That was on the call sheet about 2 months ago. This character was written as a trans character. You walking down the street in London, you're going to see trans people, right? It's part of life now. It's part of life. It's equally ridiculous to saying I don't want to see somebody who's out and gay on TV. Part of life, mate. It's part of life. It might not be your worldview, right? It might not be your worldview. It's not my business, right? Again, if you're just reflecting life here, but I think they just like built up a lot of, and to me it feels like we're dealing with somebody very hurt by the cultural war, by being called they're a bigot over and over again. Yeah, and he's very happy with the casting decision, right? He is very. This was absolute intention. Does it make it woke? It depends. I mean, something that the toxic fans have said is that the awful bigots, which we're not, the awful bigots don't want to see LGBTQ plus erasure, and to say I can't watch this if it's got a trans person in is LGBTQ plus erasure, it's trans erasure, right? Am I a fan, or do I think the permissibility and the normalcy of being trans is a positive thing for either the individuals or the world in general? No. Ultimately, I think it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be detrimental. I think it's going to hurt a lot of people. Just my opinion, right? It's just my opinion, and I'm not going to force my opinion on others. I'm probably going to sit back and be proved right, but again, it's like it's not for me to go and jump up and down and tell everybody to believe what I believe. Just the same way I didn't like the toxic fandom saying I was deplorable for not believing what they believed. Is it really a shock though? Has Davies only now just flipped his wig and decided to go full bore identity politics? Again, that your premise that this is full bore identity politics is that's your inference that you're taking, mate. It's not a fact, right? But yeah, no, he's always been woke. Has Russel Davies always been woke? Yes. He's also been extremely talented. I think the most woke, insanely woke thing he did was Years and Years, which was a compelling drama with characters that I was compelled by. And my biggest problem with Years and Years was I felt bad for Russell Davies. I was watching his existential angst at watching Brexit and Trump, and they all believed it was the end of the world, right? They all believed it. Conversely, now Biden's in office, and the liberal progressives, the wokies, have complete control over every lever of media, social media, and government, and the world is pretty much being destroyed, as it was predicted in years and years. Do they see any relationship between? I bet they don't. But again, I'm just here to watch Doctor Who, not talk about the rights of bloody man. So it's no secret that he injected Doctor Who with LGBTQ plus messaging as early as the first season back in 2005. Messaging? Again, I think it was a reflection of his worldview, right? I mean, is Malcolm Hughes' stories injecting extreme left-wing politics into Doctor Who? I wouldn't say so, because there's a real subtle difference between representing one's worldview honestly as a creative and platforming, and it's very hard to come with rules of how one fits into one, how one doesn't fit into the other. Okay. Back then, nobody cared, because not only was there a very nice little. There was very little in the way of propagandizing. I don't think there's going to be much in the way of it this time. But the character stories were also great. Again, I don't know what you're basing this on, saying the characters and stories won't be great. I've watched all his work, and if anything, Davies has improved as a writer. How much has he improved as a writer? I'm a Bible-thumping creationist. I'm a real rabbi, right? I really believe God appeared at Mount Sinai, right? I totally believe that stuff, right? So, and I believe the morality that the Bible is a guidebook, a morality template on how to get the most out of life, how God wants you to live. That's my wacky worldview, right? That's what I believe in. But still, I don't need to see everything reflect my worldview to enjoy it, right? So I'm saying, how great is it that he had two dramas which if you're looking at it on the surface, I should hate, right? I should have hated It's a Sin. I should have hated A Very British Scandal. I thought they were both beautiful, poignant, intelligent, engaging dramas, right? And even though it was written from a worldview, not mine. Why did I think that? Because they were freaking beautiful, intelligent, layered, engaging dramas. That's why. And I don't see any reason to suspect this Doctor will be anything other. David's original writer, his cast was truly inclusive in the way that mimicked real-world dynamics. Yeah. Everyone can be part of Doctor Who, provided they got along with one another and accepted each other's preferences and proclivities. You're saying stuff I like, mate. Okay, this is what I like about Doctor Who, right? I don't want the world to be a template of my outlook. Again, listen. If God appears and says, "Oh, Tzvi is totally right about everything, and you should all just agree with him," that changes things. But I haven't seen that happen as of late, right? I haven't seen that go down. If you see that happens, let me know. I would be interested. By the way, if you do see that happen, could you ask God to smite YouTube and Google altogether, so we all just go over to Rumble, right? That'll be freaking tastic. I asking him. He hasn't acquiesced as yet, but you know, I live in hope. Fine. However, the warning signs that Davies are heading down a dark directional path started to emerge years ago, not in Doctor Who, but rather in spin-off series Torchwood. Torchwood was not Doctor Who, right? Torchwood was meant for an adult audience, which meant Davies could get much gayer, right? And I think that first season of it was way too gay, right? Every freaking character had a same-sex encounter at like one point or other. It just seemed kind of silly, right? It seemed kind of silly. The show was extremely heavy-handed with the gay and lesbian messaging, but the writing still maintained its balanced itself out, solidifying Torchwood as an entertaining detour within the Doctor Who universe. Yeah, it wasn't meant for kids, mate. Then, Hot in the Hills of the 2009's incredible and amazing Children of the Earth miniseries came the 2011's Miracle Day, which was kind of turgid. Children of Earth, freaking brilliant. Best talk show there's ever been. I absolutely love Children of Earth. But Miracle Day, yeah, that was kind of, yes, it was too long, right? It was too long. While fans expect David to produce a series with the same powerful messaging and tightly woven narrative as his previous work, it never came to pass. Instead, Miracle Day was a disaster. Oh, a bit harsh, but it wasn't good, specifically because it took its eye off the storytelling in the latter half of the series. Okay. Fine, okay, if this is a critique of Miracle Day, I didn't particularly like it very much. The most obvious example of the stumble was the series' seventh episode, Immortal Sins. I zoned out by then. I was bored beyond bored. Rather than focus on the main plot, the entire planet that people cannot die, it decided to propagandize loudly on the topic of LGBTQ in the 1920s, while also taking convenient dump on organized religion. Yeah, you're going to see that in Russel. Do you think a dump on organized religion? I mean, look. I would say there's what to criticize organized religion, being a proponent of it. I would say there's definitely you have something that you could totally criticize organized religion about if you're talking about it's a sin, right? From my point of view, as a Bible thumping, Bible theoring person, right? I think the will of God, if we're going to talk about it, the will of God through the AIDS pandemic, was to show nothing but compassion to the people dying of AIDS. And it broke my heart. And I didn't realize, right? I really didn't realize was not only you died horribly from AIDS, but you died of shame as you were stigmatized and you were like pushed in these little wards, and the people just rotted away on their own. It's horrible. After that, we got there's a thing that people do within religious Judaism, which is that you go and visit the sick, right? I did it when I was in rabbinical ceremony. You just go in and you say, hi, do you want to chat? And it's great. But by the way, it's such a good thing to do. It really is such a good thing. There's a lot of people alone in hospital. A lot of people miserable and alone, in hospital. But, I wish I'd known about. I wasn't religious at the time, but that he was going to. But I would say a religious duty was to go and sit with these poor people who are dying of this horrible disease. God doesn't need your help to smite people, right? He doesn't need your help. Let's say God is a gay plague. Well, I think because if God is infinite, everything comes from God, right? So it doesn't need your help. So yeah, I think you can be mad at the bigotry that gay people did face in the name of religion. Is God pro LGBTQ plus relations? As we see it in the Old Testament, no. Very, very clear. Is God pro being a dick to other people and not having a no? God really again. This is the same. If you accept upon yourself this moral framework, then you've got to accept every aspect of it, right? Now, equally, the show, It's a Sin, which I thought the name of the show was so clever, being It's a Sin, was it sounds like the Pet Shop Boys. Was it Pet Shop Boys, that song from the era? But yeah, that was a sin. That was it. Equally, that first episode, when you saw what gay life was like in the early 80s in England, which was not too dissimilar to an extended life as a porn movie. That's also a sin. I don't think that's what God thought that sex is for. Right? I think sex is for solidifying relationships between couples. Right? I think that's the function of it. It's not just to have a insanely good time, even though it is an insanely good time, right? I mean, yeah, so yeah, they'll but here's the thing. This is why I like Russel Davies' work, because our worldview is totally different, but because I think he reflects real truth. Like real, genuine truth. He reflected the truth, and there's things, It's a Sin drama was something that I could absolutely watch riveted. Same with A Very British Scandal. A beautiful piece of writing. Absolutely is. Fine. So let's go back to the article. It failed to add. Did I miss it? It failed to add anything to the plot, and ultimately ended up being derailing the last 3 episodes of the season. It was, okay. I think Russell just thought I have much more room to tell these stories, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, yeah. Miracle Day was a bit shit. We all agree. Okay, I'm not. I think that's probably his worst work I've ever seen. I think it's much more to do with moving to the American format. Up to that point, Miracle Day was arguably quite focused on heading somewhere interesting, but ultimately Davies' inclusion of the subplot was a calculated narrative risk that failed to pay off in any fashion. You got to take risks, mate. You got to take risks to be able to create art. You got to take risks. Plausible theory suggests that Davies might have been testing the water to see just how far he could push the radical left narrative before any backlash ensued. Here's the thing, I disagree with you there. I think Davies has such an incredibly good bead on where people are, right? He's a very populist writer. He knows the line, right? I really think he knows the line. And if he gets it wrong, he gets it wrong, right? The backlash did indeed come from Miracle Day, eventually damning the miniseries to the fate of awful reviews and poor critical audience reception. Okay. Dude, this was over 10 years ago, right? There's been a lot of things happened since then. Though this came as a shocker to some, given the runaway success of Children of Earth, for others it became clear that such extreme political propagandizing would always come at the expense of story and character. Dude, I think you're taking one example and you're making a law out of it. I don't. Yes, okay. I mean, in this guy's defense, right? A lot of propagandizing, universally propagandizing up until now has come at the expense of character and story, right? But that's because I think the propagandizing is being used by inferior talents to hide their lack of talent. Davies is not an inferior talent. I mean, you might not like his work. He's not an inferior talent. I mean, as much as you can say it's the science on that one. I think that's become routine in today's major productions. Yeah, mate, but I think it's over. I think it's over. In the hindsight, this miniseries was arguably one of the first moments in pop culture history where radical identity politics kicked the door down and seized the soapbox with violent aggression. Not only that, but it was also one of, if not perhaps the first mainstream audience, sadly unaware that the slowly metastasizing into cancer that it has infected every corner of today's culture has universally rejected wokeism. That's my point. It has universally rejected wokeism, right? The only people making this stuff are the people who want to watch it themselves. When news first came down the pipe that Davies was set to reclaim the status of showrunner, I immediately predicted that nothing would change. I think you're absolutely wrong. But okay, mate, I think given the body of work that we've seen from Russel D. Davies pull out, I think you're absolutely wrong. Okay, I think are you really genuinely comparing the talent black hole that is Chris Chibnall, like the unbelievably talentless piece of human excrement that is Chris Chibnall, to Rusty Davies? I mean, really? I don't think you're paying attention, right? I do not think you're paying attention. Rather, I figured Davies at the expense of Doctor Who's iconic lineage and historical canon would no doubt soldier down the path he helped create. Well, I think so. You know, something stupid that people have always say about Doctor Who, the toxic fans of Doctor Who say over and over again, is Doctor Who is all about change, right? Doctor Who is always all about change. Okay, not really, right? No, not really. But Doctor Who, something I do think Doctor Who is always like very, very, very cuttingly edge modern, right? Doctor Who is always on the absolute cutting edges of society. I mean, like the absolute cutting edges of media, which is why I think the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who has been so unbelievably bad, right? The cutting edge of media today has been utter garbage, generally speaking, right? That's the absolute cutting. So Doctor Who has always been young, modern, and very progressive. It's always been that way. That's why it's been so freaking popular, right? That's one of the reasons people like it so much. I kind of like that. I'm feeling this new era of Doctor Who that Russell's put together is a little bit too young for me. Is a little bit too modern for me, because I think that's where Doctor Who should be, right? It should be young. It should be a young, beating show, vibrant show. Where we go. Help create. Given his childhood love of the show. love for the show now stands in direct contrast to his immediate predecessor's hatred of it. Well, they both said they loved it, right? They both said they loved it. Davies may indeed try to retcon some of Chibnall's horrifically bad creators. Yes, he may. I hope he does. However, there remains significant risk that the heart and soul of Doctor Who will remain hijacked. Yes, okay, there finally we're at a point where we can... There does remain a risk, right? It is dangerous, it is scary. I agree with you, I'm just basically a more optimistic person, and I, based on the evidence I've seen, I don't think we're there at all. I really don't think we're there at all. If Russel and company keep writing stories that are accessible only to radical identity political zealots, it's likely casual fans and moderate viewers will continue to find themselves alienated. Yes, listen, there's going to be a bump when he comes back. And he's going to get a big bump. Yasmin Finner's casting has a lot to do with her 12 million TikTok followers, as well as I think she can probably play the role that she was cast to do, right? I think everybody here can probably bring it, right? And they're going to get a lot of new people in. Shooting Up was going to get an entirely new demographic. People who like watch Sex Education, they're going to get an entirely new demographic in. But you only get them for an episode or two, right? Especially kids, right? Especially the audience they're going for. You get them for one episode if you're lucky, right? If you're lucky, you've got to hold them there. And I think political agendarizing isn't going to hold people there, right? And I think it's very important that Russell holds people there for himself, for many reasons. Further, if Davies has already fooled himself into thinking that he can straddle the line and find some sort of common ground that appeals to everyone, he's soon to discover that that's simply not possible. Well, it depends. If we can all live and let live with each other, it is possible. If we can't, it's not. Political and social polarization has so firmly taken root and entrenched themselves in near every aspect of entertainment at this point. And what little does appeal to the socially justice inclined is almost certain to be banned by everybody else. Well, that is true. But again, I don't think we've seen any radical talents try to do this. What's more, 2022 has been a disaster year for the radical left on the entertainment front. That's my point, mate. That is my point. There, the ideology finds itself in the backlayers. They've seen a Netflix version of its woke programming and employees following its horrific stock drop, as well as Walt Disney's remaining dead silent on related political issues, following immense blowback and appropriate punishment from the Florida government, Governor Ron DeSantis. Yeah, that was somewhat wonderful. Yeah, Disney is they are freaking out, right? They are freaking out beyond now. Notice how quiet they've been since they lost their special status. Yeah, I have too. In fact, ostensibly, that at the desperate pleading behest of their PR departments, much of the woke corporate world has seen fit in recent months to quickly staple and duct tape their mouths shut on hot-button political issues, rather than risk scathing blowback from those who simply want their culture to once again be free of such blatant propaganda. So the culture war's over. We're saying the same thing, right? The stuff we're seeing that's woke as hell, that nobody wants to see, that's awful. The stunning and brave black woman in Obi-Wan Kenobi. These are decisions made before now, right? These are decisions made when they thought it would work. I mean, honestly, what was that Marvel thing I saw recently? It was there was the Thor trailer, right? Thor Love and Thunder sounded like a really good idea back in 2017 when he was pitching it, right? When Tony Waititi was pitching it, saying, we look at how women are oppressed by the evil Trump. We got to fight back, and everyone's gonna love us for it, yay! And it takes several years to make a movie, and now this is where we are. To that end, one must ask, will Davies have the market for his newfound audience of woke adherents when his series debuts in 2023? No, he won't. Right, no, he won't. And I think that means that we're not going to see awful Doctor Who. Time will tell, but it's looking less and less likely. Exactly. At current, it seems as if the best case scenario for Doctor Who is Davies quickly figuring out that pushing identity politics on a frustrated entire populace is a bad move before immediately correcting course. He's not going to correct course. Right, Yasmin Finn is staying involved. Right, shooting up one is a doctor, and I think he's going to be awesome. I really, genuinely do. I think he's going to be freaking awesome as the Doctor. I'm really excited about it. But you know, I'm a guy in my basement screaming into a camera. What the hell do I know? But I'm probably right. The worst case is the 14th season of Doctor Who will be uncomfortably reminiscent of Miracle Day. No, far worse. Okay, so if the latter, the Doctor Who may find itself unable to climb out of its chasm. Could be, yeah. It could destroy Doctor Who forever. I mean, they're not making many more Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers shows anymore, are they? Which is a shame. But you know, genres die. You know, genres go away. I think probably, you know, what's it? Franchises die, right? Franchises die. I think Star Trek: Brave New Worlds is the best hope for Star Trek being around, right? You know, 10 years from now. The show is already on life support as it is, and Davies' return was the one chance it has to effectively reverse the series' direction. Again, its focus and deliver an entry that every weekend watch and enjoy. And that's the point, mate. Right? That's the point, mate. You got to have people who want there to be trans people on screen, be able to watch it and enjoy, as well as people like me, right? And as long as we can all live and let live, and that's every indication that's exactly what's coming, right? Of course, it's entirely possible that David manages to pull the rabbit out of his hat and somehow balances all these elements properly, which I think he's going to do. In which case, the 14th Doctor will be a glorious return to. I don't think it's going to be the same as old Doctor Who. I think it's going to have the DNA of Doctor Who. I think it's going to be young. I think it's going to be modern. I think it's going to be vibrant, right? Which is what I like Doctor Who to be. Right? That's what I really think it's going to be, and I'm excited by it, right? I'm genuinely excited by it. And I think it's going to be bigger than ever, because I think it's going to get this new demographic in. Yeah, every entertainment company in the world is chasing that demographic, right? They're trying to get the kids who sit on the couch and watch the phone, watch TikTok on the phone. They're the people they want to get, right? And I think they're going to get them, right? I think it's going to have bigger ratings than ever before. However, the chances of that happening are less than a producer's permanently mothballing the Daleks for all time. Well, they nearly had to in 2005 when they couldn't make an agreement with them. In other words, they just can't help themselves. Talentless people can't help themselves. Talented people can. All that said and done, this writer holds a slim to none opinion that Davies 2005 is still with us and is firing on all cylinders. In fact, I'll say there isn't a Jelly Baby's chance in hell. Well, I guess we'll find out in about years from now. What's your outlook? I've just told you, mate. I've just told you. that is indeed my outlook. So, honestly, I think there's what to look forward to. I think happy days are coming in, but who knows? The bottom line is this. Until I get any real evidence that it's going to be garbage, and I'm going to need significant evidence of that, because Russell Davies' body of work has been very, very strong. So again, until I get the evidence, I'm not going to walk around living my life in misery, right? I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to go, oh, God, it's all going to be bad. I'm not going to be doom and gloom. I'm not going to do that. Oh, why? What's the incredible prize I'm going to get out there? I'm going to do what I've always done. And what I've always done is tell you the truth. And the truth is, I think it's going to work out okay. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be better than ever. I think we're on the cusp of a glorious, glorious new future. Hopefully I'm right? If I'm right, we all do well out. We all do well out of it. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. Yeah!